Welcome. I'm in the library. Sorry, I apologize. Um, I have a thing to do tomorrow, and I always ask this question of people, and it made me think. And it's like I wanted to talk about this. It's a bit of a mind. It's a mindset that I've come up with over time, and anytime I have some type of interview of some sort, um, I always ask this of the interviewee, or the interviewer, the person that's interviewing me. I always ask them this question, and really, it's one. It serves two purposes: one, to see where their head is at; two, to make an impression of some sort on them about me, and make them to continuously think about who I am. And wow, that's a pretty good question. So I do tech jobs, computer consultants, what I've done before. Want to do more web development, but I'm taking my time before I really get deeper into that. I want to do more DevOps and stuff like that and coding. But I'll take tech jobs, support jobs, things like that. So one question I always ask, it's very simple. This is my approach. They'll ask you, hey, listen, is there any last questions or last words that you'd like to talk about before we end this interview? And I'll be like, yeah, I do have a question for you all. And they'll be like, okay, go ahead and shoot. And I'll be like, well, this is the setup here. This is just a question. There's no right or wrong answer. It really just, and making eye contact with them as you're talking with whoever's there. This will be done through a Teams meeting, so it's like, looking into the camera. It's like there is no right or wrong answer or anything like that. But it's really just to gauge who you are and your mindset and your thought process when it comes to certain situations. Please understand that there's no hard feelings or anything like that with it. And what that does, it sets them in the mindset of like, oh, okay, this guy is selecting if we should be his employer, not if he should be our employee. So it's like thinking like that. So when you're talking to a person that's interviewing you, I'd like to personally ask them questions like this, and it's thought provoking. Some people will just think a question is dumb, so you have to set it up the right way, and also you have to react the right way too, so they understand how you feel about certain things as well. And it's not really a mental mind game, but it's really a bit of an experiment to see who they are as managers, potential colleagues, if you will. So, question is, there is no right or wrong answer to this question, but in our world, our current society, and with all the technology that we have around, no, actually, I don't even say that. I don't even say that because it leads them on. So I say, I change this every so often to make it better. So excuse me. So I say, in our world, in our current society, in this current year, what is the purpose of a bookshelf? Some people will be like, well, to hold books. That's a simple, obvious answer, right? But then there'll be that one person, if there's multiple people in there, they'll think about it and they'll be like, yeah, what the hell do I need a bookshelf for? Because I have this, I have that, I have a phone. What's the point of all these things? What's the point of these things are a bit archaic? Like really it serves as a point of nostalgia, or and then somebody's like, well, obviously it's just to hold books. Thank you for that dumbass question. And it's like, but then you have that person that asks, yeah, what is the, well, they answer and they feel, and you just say, oh, okay, all right, cool, I understand that. Thank you for answering the question. It really helps me gauge you as an employer, a potential employer. Really do appreciate that. And indulging my curiosity into you as a person in your mind. Right? It's like you give them that answer, and they're like, or they might be like, so what's the right answer to this? I would say, well, there's no right answer, but there's a mindset that I have, and the mindset that I have is there is no purpose of or a bookshelf in our current age or our current society. See, I grew up as a millennial that transitioned into the internet age. Internet was something that you could get at a library or a school or something like that, but it wasn't something that you always had at your home. But now you have Zillennials growing up, or even people like my nephew, who is a older millennial, or sorry, the edge of millennials, if you will, depending on which school of thought you think of in terms of demography, in terms of the age and the year where a certain a group or generation starts or ends, and how long it goes. Is it 15 years or 20 years from that point in time? So some zillennials are actually millennials, depending on if you say 1985 to 2005. But most of the case, it's a 15-year marker. So 1982, 1985 plus 15 years. So that's kind of like what most people go with. Anyways, so we'll say, like, zillennials are people born in 2001. And also there's not always a clear marker, because certain things change, turn of centuries, things like that, in different ages. But you say, I grew up in a time where we go to libraries for research. Like, you don't do that no more. I ain't going to no damn library. I ain't taking my kid to no damn library. In middle school, Google was new. Yahoo was out. AOL, you had those discs and you would install it on your computer. It's all this stuff. Wireless what? I got to run a wire from one side of the house to the next. That's how I connect. That's how I got into networking and computers. Because I wanted the internet connection. I wanted faster internet connection. But I had to make sure that everybody can get it. And I wanted a computer in my room for various purposes. So what's the purpose of a bookshelf, to get back to the point here? What's the purpose of a bookshelf in our society? We don't need books. I can bring up any PDF or any textbook for a class for damn near free if I can find the right source. With torrents and things like Napster, BearShare, things like that, I was able to download all types of music. I can get that for free. I don't have to pay for albums. Now with COVID-19 and high quality voice, high definition voice, high definition video, I can communicate with anybody in the Caribbean, so I don't need a phone card. I can do that. I mean, people in the Caribbean, they have to pay a special service, but since we're so internet rich here in the U.S., I can easily go on, my data is not restricted. I don't have to pay extra for, calling people with certain apps. Like other countries have to do that, by the way, for some people that don't know. I deal with a lot of people that are in Jamaica, and they have to put credits on their phone, not just for a regular call, but to be allowed, they have a WhatsApp plan or a WhatsApp digital plan. So not just getting the internet, but connecting to WhatsApp servers. It's kind of crazy. Because what happens is they know that the WhatsApp has a calling feature, so they don't have to buy credits. So that's the point of that. So it's like I grew up in this age. This is my world. This is my lived experience. This is what I have to deal with on a regular basis. So what's the purpose of a bookshelf if I can get books from anywhere? This right now, especially with COVID-19, you have stocks like Teladoc that are out there, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, Teladoc, I can actually visit my doctor. I can get somewhat of a diagnosis from them without running the test. They can even send the test probably before the appointment to me. I can do the swabs, send something out, and then they can have the results of the test by the time the appointment happens. And then they could be reviewing that with me and I could do all this stuff next day, same day, damn near. Just because of the, especially if you're in a larger city or a larger metropolitan area, you can have Quest Diagnostics probably even go out to your house or go to one of their many labs. And you don't even have to really see the doctor. So it's like, what's the point, of a bookshelf when I have, back in the day for Star Trek, this was the tricorder. This is the common day tricorder. This is the representation of science fiction right here in our hands, where we can actually diagnose ourselves by, we can see how many we can see our heart rate. We can see our beats per minute and everything else like that, and track all this stuff, or even do things like tracking blood flow depending on the band that we're wearing, a Fitbit or anything else that are out there. We can do virtual spinning classes through Peloton bikes. All these things. So tell me, what is the purpose of a bookshelf? And these are the questions that I ask. These are the questions that I go through when I talk to people, talk to potential employers. And I ask them, I want to know what you think about this, because I'm a person that believes in automation. I'm a person that believes in, okay, we have this problem, and you're expecting me, my pretty self, a person that likes floral patterns and doesn't care and is not ashamed of it? You expecting me to do that type of work? So I came up with a saying, and I tell people, I preface it with this: listen, I don't really mean to be rude or anything else like that, but I'm too pretty for ugly work. They laugh. People love it. This is reasons why I've gotten hired in certain jobs. And they love this stuff because it's like, yo, this dude, he has some confidence, but at the same time, it makes sense. He's a likable asshole. I want to give him money, bi-weekly. So it's just like being that person that says, okay, this is the issue that we have. I don't feel like doing that work. Let me make an array, or make a for each function that collects certain things in an array and gives me the information that I need out of it, and then I can act on that array, blah 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 blah, blah, and go into coding. It's like, let me do all that. What's the purpose of this library? These books. They're historical. A lot of them have been converted. There's programs, there's projects that are dedicated to converting paperback books and putting them into the digital space, or putting that, like, writing them out, even if they have to by hand, not typewriter, word processors and everything, and putting these books online. A lot of books nowadays, why I've said in previous videos, I don't like to read. I don't need to. I got audible.com. I can listen to any book. This is not an ad for them, but it's such a great service. I can listen to things like Irrational Exuberance. I can listen to things like Isaac Asimov's The Foundation. I can listen to all 6 books of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I can listen to the original BBC broadcasting of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and all the primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary, the fifth phase of these great programs. So with that available through my phone, what's the purpose of a bookshelf? So the point of all that is to ask these people questions that would make an impression on them, make them want to actually hire you for one reason or another. And then, of course, also you have to deliver. You can't just come in there and be lackluster and be like, oh yeah, I'll do it manually. Where's this automation guy I was talking to? Where's this guy that doesn't believe in bookshelves anymore? These things are very important, and I did want to share that with you all, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I just finished that interview with BGS, which was great. If you haven't listened to it, take the time to listen to it. We went to a lot of things where we took the feelings of MGTOW and put it through a logical lens, if you will, or started to unpack those things. It was very therapeutic for me, and it was a great conversation with BGS even after that call or after that interview. And it's definitely for you all to learn from and appreciate that we have people that are in the space that are giving us this view into the future, if you will, of MGTOW existence. People that are 50, 60 years old that are in the 12 o'clock phase, if you will. The sun is not setting, but it's at its peak. And it's slowly setting and going down. That's the sad part of it. But, accepting it and being okay with that. And that's kind of what MGTOW Retirement's all about, is being okay with the short temporal existence that we have. And I think I used that word right, but the temporary existence that we have. And saying, yeah, okay. I guess that's the best way I can say it. As always, if you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, you're low on sodium. Do your research. Look into things. Explore these thoughts. Explore these sayings, if you will. And find ways to don't find ways to make your life better, but find ways to really understand yourself. The better will come after that. As always, thanks for listening. Peace.